Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're building a Telegram AI personal assistant from scratch, a full tutorial using MCP servers for both the Baserow database and the Gmail inbox and calendar. Let's get started. First, we've got the Telegram trigger, and we're going to be securing that Telegram chatbot. So first, let's create the new bot. When you create the new bot, this is the name that is going to come up with on screen. You can call this whatever you like, however you're going to refer it. So we're going to call it Smart PA. Now, this is a username. This is the important one to secure. So if you're on Linux, you can bring up the Linux terminal, type in this command, open SSL, rand-hex 12. That will bring you up a hexadecimal string. You can copy this, put that as a username. So you put the hexadecimal string in, then you type in bot at the end, and then that creates your chatbot. Now, if anyone tries searching on Telegram for the bot, they're not going to find your bot because they'd have to just guess a random string. A lot of people would put the same sort of name like Smart PA, etc., etc. They can all be searched for in Telegram, and if you don't secure the Telegram node in n8n, someone could just go and start using your credits on OpenAI or whatever your bot's connected to. So secure that bot. So now we put the access token just there, save, and now if we go to there, now we've got our new bot. Let's start it. Let's rename it so we know what it is. Now we can test the workflow. Right, so now when we test the workflow, grabs a message from there. So now we've got the first message through. There's a text, and here is a bit where you can secure the bot. So we can secure it with the user ID, or we can secure it with a chat ID. Here is where you would get the user ID, and here is where you would get the chat ID. So we can copy them, put them in there, and then that will secure the Telegram trigger so that it can't be accessed by anyone else. Now, next step is we're going to get a switch node, and we are going to set it so it can take both voice and text. So now we're going to testing 1 2 3. Right, now we're going to test that trigger node. Now we've set up the switch node. So here's a switch node here. So we'll quickly record a message. Testing 1 2 3. Now we'll execute the trigger. So it's pulled that through. And then we drag the file ID up here. So if it exists, then it will label it as voice and send it down the voice route. So now we've set it up so if the string exists, then it will label it. So now we've set up the switch node. So if the string exists, then it will be labeled as a voice, if there's a voice file. And if there's a text message, then it'll be labeled as text and sent down the other path. So there's the get file. So we can drag the file ID in there. Now it's going to grab the file there, and now we can now put OpenAI's Whisper, and we're going to transcribe a recording. Already got our OpenAI credentials already in, so we're transcribing the recording there, and now that's all ready to be sent, and now we're ready for our AI agent. So it's now picking that up and sending it down the text route. So we've now got testing hello, and it's come down the text route. So we're going to execute that. Node executed successfully. And now, so in user prompt message, we're going to put text from there. Now we're going to do another test. We're going to test it again. 1 2 3 1 2 3 test 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 test. So now we're going to pick that up again. This time it's picked up the voice file again. Now we're going to put it through the switch node, download the file, and it's come through here. And now, so from the transcribe, we've now got JSON.txt. So we're now going to edit the field. We're going to go to manual mapping, and we're going to text, and from the switch node. So now let's send another message. Hello. From the switch node, we've now got text again, and it's now going down that path. So now what we need to do, if we just put this straight through to the agent, it comes up as json.message.txt, which on here it's coming through as just json.txt. So you've got inconsistencies in the input for the agent. So to make it easy for the agent, you just edit the field and you change it to just .txt. That way now when we test this, it's going to put it through as just .txt, hello. So then when it comes through here, it's going to pick it up. Right, let's get and attach the chat models. I'm going to attach Grok 3 just here. So from the Telegram trigger, for your Postgres chat memory, from the Telegram trigger, I'll just drag the chat ID over to here, and then I'll copy it and then I'll put it in here, and then it can now grab the chat ID. Now we can test. Right, there's a bit of syntax missing just there. Right, now that's all working. So this gives you a good idea as to how you diagnose things on the go as well, and build it as you go. Right, so now we've got our basic bot. We've got the input, we've got the output. Now we've got our basic bot. We've got the input. Now we just need to put the output. So we're going to put Telegram. So we're now going to put send a text message, and we've got the chat ID just here. So we grab the chat ID all the way from here, put that there, and now the text is just here, output. And now when we test this, we've now got a message through. Oh, I would have a message through if I'd selected the correct account. So now let's test that again. Now the message has come through to the correct account. So there we go. So now we're going to send that. Let's test the workflow. There we go, super quick. Boom, now we've got a message. Alright. Let's test it and see if it does a voice recording. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. How are you today, bot? Let's test that. So now send it through there. The problem is somewhere along here. Somewhere along here, it's not getting the correct message. What we're going to do is we're going to send another text message. And we're going to go along here. We'll delete that. Drop text in there to make sure it's all correct. Delete that. So we're going to test this, and then we're going to drop text in there as well. Execute, and now we're going to test here. Test here. Now let's see what happens. When I'd copied the Telegram trigger chat ID for the Postgres memory, it left the curly brackets in here, and it was relabeling it as test rather than text. So the agent kept on picking up just the curly brackets, and then giving the error that it's not getting the message. So now all of that's fixed. Now we have text in here. The curly brackets is gone. So now when we send a message, are you today? So now I'm going to pick it up and we get the reply. Hello there, I'm doing great, blah blah blah. So now it's time to start adding some tools. So let's go with the Think tool. Might as well add the Think tool nowadays, so that way you can have a little scratch pad. Right, let's now add some other tools and agents. First up, we're going to add the email and calendar agent. So we've got an email and calendar agent there that I've already pre-built just here, and we've also got an MCP server for the emails and the calendar. In the past you would have had a separate calendar agent and a separate email agent, so then that way it can manage the tools more effectively. Now, because of the MCP server reducing the workload, I've combined the two into one to reduce the complexity of the agent. So there's all the different tools for the email side of things. There's all the different tools for the calendar side of things. And then that's all linked through to this agent here. So there we go. Manager's tool to manage emails and calendar. So we've been running this AI agent without a prompt. Now we're going to add one in. So here's a prompt I made earlier. So you want to make sure the expression is turned on, so it'll pick up the time and date. Very important if you're doing time sensitive and date sensitive things like calendars. So there we go, that's the prompt just there. So let's now check the emails. There we go, so it's found a message from LinkedIn, and there we go. Now let's check the emails. Right, now let's set up and add a project management MCP. So now we're going to set up the MCP server. So we're going to go for the native MCP server trigger. We're now going to add Baserow. So we'll add a Baserow tool. Right now. So here we are in Baserow in testing. So we're going to go to the project management part of it. And we're going to grab the project management database, use this template, and we're going to rename this one to testing, because I have others on my, so we're going to rename this to testing because I have other project management databases on this account. So we've got a Baserow account there. There we go, we've got project management testing just there. And we're going to go to projects. So let's get many rows in Baserow. Get So we've got get projects. And we're now going to, let's duplicate these. Duplicate. Duplicate. Control D, duplicate. So now we've got 4 just here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that one as tasks. So get tasks. I'm going to put that one as clients. Get clients. And that one is going to be get team members. Get team contacts. Get client. So now we're going to link each one of these to the MCP trigger. Just there. Now we can test. There we go. So it's pulling through the information just there. Save that. Save as we go along. Now let's duplicate that, because now we're going to create a create. And now we're going to add each of these fields. So the name is pretty self-explanatory. Category. So in the projects, got the name, category. So what you want to do for the category, for things like the category, is you will go to you will look at all the fields. So you've got design, development, research and marketing. So now when you go into here under category, you go from AI, and then what you want to do is add a description. So what you want to do is choose one of the 4 options, and then what you'll do is you'll go in here and you need it exactly as it appears in the database, because if it's not got exactly the exact way that it appears in the database down to capital letters, then it's going to error out.
And then last one.
So anything that's multiple choice that you're inputting into Baserow, you just need to give it what it needs to get exactly correct. Add each field along here. So we've got category there. So for creating a project, these are the fields that you need to be connecting for it to fill out. So you've got name, category, where you put the multiple choices there, the client, the project lead, description and budget. And now a little trick to save you time and speed up the creation. You can now duplicate the create, because the only difference between a create and an update is the row ID. So you don't have to type all that out again. Makes it nice and quick and easy to get it set up. So now we're going to go in here, change that to update. From AI, and then we change this to update project. There we go. Now we've got all that set up, and now I'm just going to speed up this process and drop all the others in there. Right, so now we've got our MCP server for Baserow all set up for the full project management database. One thing that I like to add that I find missing on the template is a client contact telephone number, because in the database it only has email, and I like to be able to phone my clients. So this is how you add a field in. So we will go into the client section, and we're going to add a phone number, and we'll create. So now we've got the phone number field. We're going to move it over so it's next to the email. And there we go. Now we've got a phone number there. Now what we need to do is we need to go back to the client contacts section, and we just need to add an extra field in the bottom for phone number, then from AI, and in the update one as well, let's do the same. Phone number from AI. There we go. So now that's all set. I'm going to save that there. And now what you do is we're going to go in here and we're going to add our MCP server. So MCP client tool. Now we need to get the endpoint. So the endpoint's in here. If we're doing testing, then we have here, but I'm just going to straight up activate it. So we'll copy the URL. I'll copy the URL here, bring it over to here, put it in there. And now we're going to bear it off, and then I've already got some credentials already set up. There. So now that's all set up there. I'm going to save that. Now let's test. Right, now let's see if we can see the MCP server. It's hitting the MCP server. And it's now going to send us a reply. So there we go, it's access to team contacts. Can you show right now? So that's all built. So now we're going to activate this workflow and we're going to test it. Let's have a look and see if we can pick up Steve's team contact. There we go, there's Steve Gray. Can you send Steve an email to check how his projects are doing? So now we're going to see if we can send. Now, with a few tweaks, everything's now working. So we've swapped out for the simple chat memory because it's only one user. So it doesn't need the scale, especially when you're just using a Telegram trigger. And if you were doing this at scale for multiple users, then you would use the Postgres chat memory and you would set up user authentication in Supabase to handle everything for the multiple users and to keep independent chat memory for each independent person. That's simplified everything, and everything's all up and working for a nice simple test. So we've got exactly the same key as we had in the Postgres chat memory. And now if we check the emails, it's now going to check the emails. And there, it's brought up the emails. Now let's check the calendar. So there's no calendar entries in the calendar. So now we're going to send an email to Steve and set a calendar appointment. Right now. So there's the meeting confirmation. And there we go, there's a meeting with Steve for tomorrow. So now, let's check that the Baserow database is all present and correct and connected. So we're going to get it to bring up all the projects. There we go. So now it's brought up all the projects. Now we can check. The tasks. Let's see if it'll be able to fill in the blanks from just putting a shortening of the company name. There we go. There's all the tasks. So now we can get to show all the client contacts. There we go. So there's an example of how you build a project management system with your MCP servers. As you can see, unlike earlier examples that you'll see on other channels and some of my earlier ones, the MCP server can allow you to simplify the agent quite substantially by reducing the amount of additional tools agents that you need to have it all working properly. Now you can combine the calendars and the emails in one, allowing it to be more simple and to be managed more effectively with less resources. And with the Baserow project management database, unlike spreadsheets, you've got the ability to manage the views a lot more effectively. So you can already have preset views that you can, to make it easy to see. So you've got your completed projects there. Your active projects just there, nice and easy to bring up. So in Baserow's project management database, you can have all sorts of filters, nice and quick and easy to access if you're working off of the desktop. So you can easily keep track of all of your projects. And the same with your tasks. So you can have them grouped by project here. You can have the completed ones here. Tasks in progress. It shows the tasks in progress. Completed tasks. So that covers how you build a AI project management assistant from scratch using MCP servers. Having the MCP servers reduces the workload for the AI quite substantially, making it far more efficient. If you'd like me to work with you to automate parts of your company, then by all means reach out through the website. If you'd like to buy the workflow, then check out links in the description where you can buy some of the workflows for n8n, including this one. And this one will be a discounted price. Get people into making workflows in n8n. One of the quickest and easiest ways of automating bits of the company is if you've got lots of documents that you need to bring into one place, you can build a internal chatbot to deal with that. And if you want it to work with the staff, then one of the best interfaces is using OpenWebUI rather than Telegram. Check out the link up here, and you can watch one of my other videos that shows how you integrate OpenWebUI with n8n and Baserow. If you'd like to donate to the channel to help keep it going, then check out the links in the description. Until next time, keep automating.